Hello everyone! So in my previous video, I tried to pick out all the weird moments of the digital circus. If you haven't watched my previous video, you should definitely watch it. I'll leave the link in the description. And here we go. When watching the strange moments of Glitch Productions' jaw-dropping, mind-bending, amazing digital circus, various questions have certainly arisen. I have, as promised, collected all those questions. And also I tried to see the clues of the authors of the digital circus, which, in my opinion, should help us find answers to these questions, and to the two most important questions. What the damn it is going on here, and what should we expect next? As I said, there are a lot of questions. They're not easy questions. You can't answer them quickly enough. So we're going to take it one step at a time. Today, we will take a close look at the main character of the digital circus, named POMNI, and try to understand him as accurately as possible. And guess what this character is? And at the end of the video, you'll be left with a surprising guess. Let's go. What did we realize about this character from the very beginning? No one had any doubts that this is a girl who for some reason put on a VR headset, having previously downloaded some program, most likely some game. She immediately immersed herself in virtual reality. And she is so much immersed that she gets into the digital circus as realistically as possible. We see that she gets directly to the stage of the circus, where some company is preparing or rehearsing some performance. We can see that this company is not very happy with her, but they don't mind her appearing next to them. Perhaps they realize that no one is asking for their opinion in this process. The computer program is saying, "Here's a new character, go ahead." That's it. Next, we see this girl's first reaction. She gropes her strange body in surprise and pulls at parts of her face with her hands, while asking the question, "How do I take this headset off?" And then a few more questions. What's going on? Who are you people? Why can't I take it off? Where am I? What the is going on? Let's take a break from watching the video for a moment and think about VR headset. Those who have used it know that first, you need to run a special program on your computer. Then, load some virtual reality or game and put on a VR headset. And further immersion in virtual reality. And the more qualitative the program product is made, the more powerful the immersion. Immersed in virtual reality, you are now fully focused on what is happening around you. You temporarily become the character you chose at the beginning of the immersion. Now you are not thinking about anything else but the reality you are immersed in. You are there. Completely. In the virtual world. And for a while, you're not the same person you were. In reality, you forget that for a while. You're the character you've chosen. You're moving somewhere. You're doing some tasks. Whoa! Exciting! But at any moment, you can take off your VR headset and you're back in the real world. And one more thing for the record. Everything that happens to you while you're traveling through virtual reality is simultaneously displayed on the monitor. And another person can see what is happening to you while you are traveling through virtual reality. This is a very important point, so back to the digital circus. I think the same thing happened with the characters in the digital circus. There are only two differences. Just two. But the most important ones. The first. For some reason, the digital circus characters can't take off their VR headsets. This is a fatal difference, forcing them to live a new virtual life and interact with new characters while following some set rules. And the second difference. Look at the way POMNI touches her body with her hands. She clearly doesn't like the way she looks. Her questions of what's going on and where am I suggest that she didn't choose her image and she didn't choose this place. I think she just put on an amazing VR headset. And then everything happened according to a program script. And there she is, standing in the circus arena. And the other characters in the digital circus are just like they were before. Remember at the beginning when Jax asked Kane, "Is this one of your NPCs or is this a new sucker?" Jax, as well as the rest of the characters in the digital circus, have already realized the stupidity of their act when they, as well as Pomni, put on that weird VR headset. After that, they found themselves in a hopeless situation and now have to accept it and play by the new rules. That's what they called on Pomni to do. And a few words about the appearance of Pomni. In appearance, she resembles a jester or a harlequin. A lot of people are seriously and very thoroughly discussing the appearance of Pomni's character. They even speculate that in real life, some girl really dreamed of being a clown, but she was not good at it. And so some villains suggested she put on a VR headset. I'm going to disagree with that. I think that the moment she put on the VR headset, the program made her remember some impression from her childhood, some toy she remembered as a child. Apparently, this girl in real life, when she was a little girl, played with a similar toy. So she remembered this image, and then she ended up in the digital circus in that image. I think the same thing happened to other characters in the digital circus, and this could be interesting and useful for solving the mysteries of the digital circus. At the beginning of this video, I reminded you of what it feels like to wear a VR headset. When we put it on, we plunge into virtual reality and forget about the real reality for a while. We think only about the character we have chosen for a virtual journey or a virtual game. For a while, we do not care what our name is in real life, how old we are, what profession we have, and many other things. We are there, in a virtual image. This is what I attribute to the fact that the characters in the digital circus don't remember their name. And they don't remember anything about themselves. Those memories have been temporarily disabled. As evidence of this, we saw Kane say that no one can remember their name once they enter the digital circus. And one more point. If you are attentive, you have probably noticed that in our real life, we behave in a way that is customary in our society. For example, we don't fall face into the cake even if someone really wants us to. We cut off a piece and eat it carefully. When we are tired, we don't lie down to rest on the road, but look for a place to sit down and rest. But in each of us, there are some feelings that we do not spill out, but keep inside ourselves. Sometimes we call them our frailties or our shortcomings. Who doesn't have them? There is also the expression, our second nature. But once in some extreme situation, a person begins to show his second nature, his shortcomings, and hidden character traits. And this, I think, is very important in understanding the characters of the digital circus, and maybe in unraveling the whole plot and idea of the digital circus. Whoa! That's what I said! Freeze! Let's better get back to today's character named Pomni. Yeah, I have come across many assumptions by different people that Pomni has an high-strung and even paranoid personality. They say that Pomni is nervous, irascible, confused, and fearful. Someone has suggested that Pomni felt like a blank slate before entering the digital circus. Someone has suggested that Pomni is familiar with the feeling of utter insignificance. There is a suggestion that Pomni was a quiet, calm, naive, and uncommunicative girl in real life, and had some problems in the real world that she might be worried about. I don't agree with any of these assertions. Let's take a close look at her behavior in the digital circus together. When Pomni enters the digital circus, we see a strong surprise. Then there's consternation. She is in some strange character. There are some strange characters around her. And she can't take off her VR headset to get out. It's a natural human reaction in that situation. Then after Jax says that Kinger has gone crazy, we see Pomni's mixture of indignation and frustration. To be scared in this situation would not be surprising. Then, Pomni has a defensive reaction. She decides that this is a dream and she will wake up soon. But next, when Kane shows the circus grounds, we see surprise and consternation again. When Kane asks Pomni her name, we see consternation on her face. After all, she can't remember her name. To be scared in this situation would not be surprising. But when the Gloinks drag Zubul away, Pomni is already calmly observing what's going on. After Kinger's words about the exit that Kaufmo muttered about Pomni has hope. But wait, wouldn't that more likely mean the exit does exist? Next, when she saw the abstracted Kaufmo, we see a frightened Pomni again. But at the sight of such a monster, it is hard not to be frightened. It should be noted that at the sight of the furious monster, Kaufmo Pomni did not fall into a stupor from fear, but she ran away. At the same time, she showed her savvy by hiding from the abstracted Kaufmo around the corner of the wall and behind various objects. She also became actively involved in what was happening and ran to call out to Kane to help Ragatha. Upon seeing a door labeled Exit, Pomni confidently and boldly walked through it. And at the end of the movie, we see a pensive Pomni. No wonder so much has happened to her. So many different events. She needs time to figure things out. So, what did we get? I see Pomni's usual reaction to what's going on. It seems to me that many of us would behave the same way if we were on such an adventure. And that's good. That's encouraging. Perhaps Pomni is the only normal and appropriate character in the digital circus. I suppose she can solve all the riddles of the digital circus and find a way out. Unless, of course, she becomes like all the other characters. And the final feast. A delightful digital feast in the style of The Last Supper by Leonardo, where Pomni sits in the center of the table, gives a clue to those who have not yet realized that Pomni is the main character of the amazing digital circus. It is around her that further events will take place. She is the one who will solve the mystery of the digital circus. And for dessert, as I promised, a very interesting suggestion. You may have noticed the strange name Pomni. In English, Pomni is just a bunch of letters. It doesn't mean anything. Why would the main character have a name like that? That's the author's trick. I looked up the meaning of the word Pomni in various translators. It turns out that from the Slovenian language, this word is translated into English as to remember. And also from Bulgarian, it is translated the same way. But it turns out that's not all. From Czech and Slovak, the word translates to forget it. Whoa, that's a twist, but that's not all. In Croatian, it translates to be careful, phenomenal. It sounds like 3 reminders, like 3 warnings, for a character named Pomni. Remember. She has to remember something. Forget it. She must forget something. Be careful. Of course, Pomni. Please, be careful. You may not be able to find your way out of this digital captivity. I think this is a brilliant idea and a clue by the author. Unfortunately, our digital circus character named Pomni does not carry a dictionary of the world's languages. So she is left to figure out the intricacies of a very interesting scenario on her own and search for a way out. Well, you and me will try to find confirmation of my assumptions. If you agree with my assumptions, write in the comments. If you disagree with something, write about it. Subscribe to my channel if you like my video. Do not forget to put a like. In the next videos, we will continue to study the characters of the digital circus and look for answers to questions. It will be interesting. Bye everyone. See you soon.